Take responsibility for yourself. Only you are in a position to move through what is happening to you. You, who you are, is far more than what's happened to you, far stronger than what's happened to you. And who you are, that matters, because that will run what happens to you in the future. You're not some limited, fixed, rigid identity. It's like you're malleable. Okay. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev. Hi everybody. We're live here in front of people, so let me just show them to you for a second so they can also see you. So many of your cameras are off, but anyway, say hello. Hello. Happy people, no? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're on chapter 6. Title is Meditation. But I think it's more than that, because the previous chapters, verses that we discussed. So what we normally do is we watch Gurudev's video, and then we go verse at a time until we catch up to where he left off, and then we again start his video. And one of the things that chapter 6, one of the verses that was mentioned is how your mind is your best friend or your enemy. And how you have to control your mind. I'm sorry, you don't see me, no? How you have to control your mind in order to get deeper into meditation. So Lord Krishna is just setting up the prep work for a deep meditation. He hasn't yet started about meditation, but he's just setting up that you need to control your mind, it's your enemy or not, and that you are responsible for it. Nothing else can help make that shift. Yes, everybody, we're together? All right. So let's start with 3. Mala, please.
आरुरुक्षोर्मुनेर्योगम् कर्म कारणमुच्यते योगारूढस्य तस्यैव शमः कारणमुच्यते.
To the contemplative soul who desires to attain Karma Yog, selfless action is said to be the means for the same man when he's established in yoga. Absence of all sankalpas, thoughts of the world, is said to be the way to blessedness. To the contemplative soul who desires to attain Karma Yog, selfless action is said to be the means for the same man when he is established in yoga, absence of sankalpas. So, as you all know, just for them, and you all know repeatedly, Arjuna has asked, what is better, Karma Yoga or the path of knowledge? Right? And we have been proceeding along the way where Lord Krishna specifically tells Arjuna, because of his tendencies, who is he? A Kshatriya. And for him, what is best? Action. For him to sit in knowledge and contemplate and go deep within is not necessarily the easiest road. Both lead to the same goal, but what Lord Krishna is saying, but for you, Arjuna, the best is Karma Yoga. And obviously, we are very much close to where Arjuna is, busy in the world, doing whatever we have to do, family, kids, job, etc. So what is best for us also, easier for us, is Karma Yoga. Do your action. And so this verse, what it's saying is, the one who is looking towards moksha shastra, towards liberation, towards freedom, what is best is, if you desire to attain Karma Yoga, you have to go into selfless action. This we know, right? Chapter 4, chapter 3, even parts of chapter 2 has been going on again and again. And if you remember last time I told you, something that's very evident when we talk about Bhakti, about Bhagavad Gita, is that it's moksha shastra through action. In 100 different ways, Lord Krishna, or 700 verses later, Lord Krishna is telling Arjun, hey, listen, act, act, act. Do what you have to do. Do your duty. Do it in the name of God. Do it for others. Don't get caught up in the results. Eventually drop desires and doership, but you must act. Action is inherent to life. That's what's been said so far. Inherent. No? So when people have these ideas of, oh, I want to be full-time and maybe I don't want, no. You see Swamis, you see Guru, nothing but action around him. He's the epitome of Karma Yog in a way, though we have all the other yogas, right? So this verse is just reiterating what we have been discussing. The direction is selfless action, and that is the same as when there is an individual who is absent from sankalpas, means there's no mental activity. There's no desires. There's no, I want this, I don't want this. Who is that? That is the state of enlightened. Karma Yoga, when you have selfless action, you are leading to the same direction as one who is established in yoga. Yeah. Again, I just want to remind ourselves, remember, we have a lot of knowledge. Over the years, isn't it? We know a lot and we get glimpses of application of that knowledge. We live it for a moment and then we fall back into the small mind again. Correct? It's not established in us. It's not that we have to gain knowledge. We are that knowledge. It wakes up for a moment and then it sort of collapses back and there's a layer of covering. The ignorance comes back in. What is the remainder of the Gita talking about after chapter 2? How to purify man, buddhi, ahankar, right? Chitta, mahankar. How to purify so that the knowledge that we have is established. Are we clear? All right. Number 4, Mala.
यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्जते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
When a man ceases to have any attachment for the objects of senses and for actions, and has renounced all sankalpas, meaning thoughts of the world, he is said to have attained yoga. It's self-explanatory, but it's like, really, how are we ever going to get there, no? Ceases to have any attachment. How are you going to have no attachment? You have kids, look, there's a baby right there. How are you going to have no attachment? How is that possible? To have not me and mine and my kids and my house and my things and my ideas and my beliefs and my likes and, yes, my seva, my course, my students. No? Me and mine is to everything. So you have to have no attachment for the objects of senses and for actions. The interesting thing is there are moments where action arises spontaneously, particularly when you're in seva. Do you notice? Particularly when Gurudev is going to be in town, for some reason we all get together and the me and mine reduces to some degree. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? It somewhere it reduces. Action, thought, movement is spontaneous. It's beyond your, I like it, I don't like it. I want it, I don't want it. And forget about seva. You know this in, like when there's a birth of a child. When something wonderful happens in the house that's really big, birth of a child, or a wedding in a house, especially like your daughter is getting married, or somebody very close. You notice you move into action. And there's not a lot of me and mine, only the action is there. Ye karna hai, wo karna hai, and you're not burdened by it because the second requirement is free of attachment of the object and also to the action itself. While you're planning the family wedding or something like that, no, we should do this, and someone else comes and says, no, no, I was thinking we should just put okay, tumko jo bhi karna hai, okay, do whatever you want, yes or no? You're not even attached to the action in that moment. What is the difference? Why is that? Because the state of mind to begin with is joy. This is the key to this sutra. Are you hearing what I'm saying? When we are happy to begin with, joy, happy not like ha ha ha, but a centered sense of joy, we are not attached in the same way. We don't get caught up in my way or your way, attachment to action. You're not caught up in the object. It must be this versus that. You don't have any of these things. And the mind is not running you. It's spontaneity that's moving you through. You don't even have your attention on the goal. Have you ever noticed that? You're not looking at, okay, got it. Okay, maybe you're counting numbers now, Bay Area. I don't know. You probably, oh, we have 5,000 people, Sankalpa, and we have 50. No. So maybe you're counting numbers, but if you notice, there are clear moments. Maybe you go to some fair and you're handing out flyers and you're just sharing. You're not thinking about anything. There's joy, there's happiness, there's a sense of community. Do we do this? Do we do that? How do we get people? We do know this. The thing is, we are happy first and then doing action. Then in those moments, you have attained yoga. You have to think about this. You have to really appreciate that there are moments, flashes of life in a day, a week, a year, a lifetime, where you operate in yoga. You are no different. We are no different for that moment from a siddha, from a yogi. The only thing is, it doesn't sustain itself because which veil is high? Which ignorance veil? Is only one. We talk about it again and again. What is it? I am this body. This is the ignorance that makes us not stay established. I'm this body. And then if body is relating, then that's other. You and other starts to happen and all the challenges come. No? It's just interesting to know. It seems so impossible, but you have to remind yourself, oh, we do live this. This does come into our life. When I'm happy, when I'm joyful, I'm not looking to see what's going to come. I'm not focused on the results. I'm just in action. I'm just moving. No? Naturally, you shared. Not I am giving to you. You shared like kids do. Yeah? Okay, Mala, next verse.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुर् आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
One should lift oneself by one's own efforts and should not degrade oneself, for one's own self is one's friend and one's own self is one's enemy. Yeah. This, we spoke about it briefly in the beginning. Your own mind is either your friend or your enemy. The important piece here is this. One should lift oneself by one's own effort and should not degrade oneself. Take responsibility for yourself. This is that statement where Gurudev says, whatever is happening to you, you are responsible for. That's what this verse is saying. It's not because it's not a situation, it's not the economy, it's not the person, it's not the place, it's not. You are responsible. You decide if you are friends with yourself or if your mind is enemy with yourself. But this verse, this is very difficult because we keep pointing our fingers where? Outside. No, I feel this happened because, that didn't happen because. This is a clear statement. Lift oneself by one's own effort. It's not, I'll pray to Guruji and it'll go away. It's not that. Praying to Guruji is saying, help me blame somebody else. When something goes wrong, when you're having a challenge and you're praying to Guruji, please help me, I don't know what to do. And you see this in the question basket. You see people when during the darshan line, this and this happened, that and that happened, whether it's about their satsang group or family or job or anything like that. There's finger pointing that goes on. Yes, you see it. This is clearly saying when you pray to be free of that, you're simply praying, God, help me blame others. Is this going to happen? Is it going to happen? No. You have to handle your own mind. We have to handle our own gymnastics and dynamics. And 99% of the time, whatever the problem is because it's chapter 1. You are caught in me and mine. What happened to me, what you did to me, it's mine, it's not yours, it belongs to me. The moment we're caught in this me and mine, that's chapter 1, Arjuna is perfectly fine killing people. He's been doing it all his life. He's 89 years old. That's what he's been trained for. He was practically born with a bow and an arrow in his hand. He's fine killing. He just doesn't want to kill his own. He wants the kingdom, but not at the price of killing his own. He wants to take vengeance for his wife, but not at the cost of killing his own. He's not a scared person. He's attached, me and mine person in this moment, correct? So, this is the thing to remember. When you start pointing fingers and you show up somewhere and say, you did this, you didn't do this to me, you did that to me, that means you are caught up in chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. You haven't yet moved. Are we clear? You look so gambhir here. they were like these. Why?
I mean, for me, I studied religion in college. I know I've read the Bhagavad Gita, read other religious books. Theoretically, it all makes sense, and I understand it. I know it. It's hard to accept with some of the things that have happened in my life, as if like I'm the one responsible for it.
Well, maybe you didn't call. So just to repeat for you, there's somebody here who's saying, I've studied religion, I read a lot, Gita, etc., but it's very hard to accept that I'm the one who's responsible for what happened to me because so many things have happened. And that's what I'm responding to. It isn't, you don't have to necessarily think that I caused it. But once it happened, who is responsible for moving out of that state? Who? You are. At that point, you can either dwell in what happened and keep going on pointing fingers and blaming, which takes energy, time, effort, resource, your joy in the moment, right? You can keep doing that, or you have to become friends with your mind, move out and say, now what do? I am responsible for how I move forward, even if he deliberately did something to me. Do you see what I'm saying? There's practically speaking, if you start getting into, I didn't do it, but even then, I'm going to have to go a little further. Have you noticed a lot of people say to Gurudev, how come bad things happen to good people? They ask it in their own way, but they say, how come bad things happen to good people? And how come bad people get away with everything? And so many good things happen to people. How come? Our memory is very short-sighted. Do you understand what I just said? Our memory is very short-sighted. It was making my eyes flicker, it was too much light on me. Look, if you go back, your memory 10 years ago has faded. Even in that incident, when it's happening, your memory is not so clear. It's not so accurate. Our perception is tainted by what we already have in our system. Do you remember in school? I don't know if you had this thing. Somebody comes running and somebody else comes running after, and there's a scuffle or whatever, and then they run out, and then you have to write down what you saw, who did what they look like. Do you remember this sort of thing? I remember in school they did that, and everybody gets it all wrong. And everybody assumes that this one was trying to rob this person. But before that, something took place outside that you don't have information to. You follow me? I'm chasing Sushma into the classroom and she's struggling. No, no. And then they run out the other door. So it looks like Rajshree was trying to take Sushma's bag, and that's what everybody will describe. But what happened before entering is Sushma took Rajshree's bag. You understand? And she ran into the classroom. Our memory is short-sighted. Life is not 1962 to May of 2025. That's an appointment in life. We've talked about this many times, that it's worth really remembering. The moment you are born, with a dash in between, to when you die, this is what?
Lifespan.
It's a lifespan. It is not life. A span. That means an appointment in this frame called life. Like in the week or in the day, there is a day. But then there is a span of time. At 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I'm meeting you. That's a span of time in a day. Like that, if you live 80, 90, 100 years, it's a span of time in something called life. Yes? But before that span of time, meaning before 10 o'clock, there was 9 o'clock and 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And after 11 o'clock in the day, that appointment, there's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and so on. And if you describe what's happening to me based on that one appointment, do you have the full picture? No. You don't have the full picture. If I say, oh, Didi, how was your day? Oh, I had a lovely dinner at Tom's. Does that tell you about my day? No. Somehow I was saying to this guy, today was a day that started all upside down. Any good thing I was trying to do was turning out backwards. I was going to go meet somebody, and I was going to go surprise somebody, and somehow none of it was working out. The dinner worked out. At least I ate twice. So the point is that between 10 and 11, in your appointment, what happens is not an indication of who you are, what your day is like, or what you did before or after. Are you clear? Can you see how this verse applies? Take responsibility for yourself. Only you are in a position to move through what is happening to you. Number one, it empowers you. Just forget spirituality. It makes you become in charge. Okay, now I can do something about it. Somebody else can't. Correct? That's number one. Number two, your perception changes, which means you're able to make a shift in whatever's going on. This is a big thing in life. You suddenly say, I don't know. And number three, if you are in a situation that's not changeable, that's not negotiable, somehow you have to work with that boss, you have to work with this colleague, you need that job, whatever it might be. When you say to yourself, all right, perhaps this was something due to me. She had already snatched my purse before, so I'm snatching it back. Are you getting what I'm saying to you? Not as guilt, not as regret, not as blame, but the awareness that life is so much bigger. The span of time is so much bigger. I am not in a position to know what started when and when it ended. If I look from this place, you don't harden your heart. You don't become very rigid and the sense of blame, even if it's outside, stops. Because I'll tell you something about blame. When you blame somebody outside, eventually what's going to happen? What's going to eventually happen? If you keep blaming somebody, some situation, some person or a group, what's going to happen? You victim, that's number one. But what else is going to happen?
You lose control. You feel that you don't have control.
You don't have control. At some point, you will blame yourself. Why did I let it happen to me? It will begin like that. How come I didn't know better? It will begin like that. And that victim becomes part of the blame, part of the cycle. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And blame, whether it's outside or with yourself, it's circular. If you start with blaming yourself, I don't know why I did this. This happened because of me, and I don't know what to say, and I'm sorry. Eventually, there's no more place for you to beat yourself up. There's too many bruises all over. Are you with me? So now you have to turn that energy out, and you're going to blame somebody else. And then you beat them up, beat them up, beat them up. There's too many bruises there. Because our conscious, our higher self can't go on blaming others, can't go on punching others, criticizing others. The higher self, that's not its nature. Paramatma, Atma, the self, that quality of that self is what? Love, connectivity, belonging, togetherness. In fact, there is no two, there's just one. That's why I'm saying blame, criticism, finger pointing, negativity, whether it's about somebody else or it's you, is going to land in the same exact place. See? So it's a profound verse that Lord Krishna is making absolutely clear. Lift oneself up by one's own efforts. It's not by grace. It's not by praying. It's not by blessings. No. Just take responsibility. Knock it off. Do something else. Interrupt the pattern of your thinking. And this is where what we spoke about yesterday comes in. It is a choice. Are you going to spend a life complaining or in gratitude? Are you going to spend a life blaming or praising? Are you going to spend a life, loving, connecting, or separating, distancing? Are you going to spend a life leaning into things, or are you going to spend a life avoiding things? Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes? It's really a question that one has to ask oneself, I bet you part one came out of all of this. Lord Krishna, in the Guru form, wrote the part one manual. Everything is in here, no?
Absolutely.
Everything is in here, Okay, next verse, Mala.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
One's own self, capital S, is the friend of the soul by whom the lower self, consisting of mind, senses, and body, has been conquered. Even so, the very self, capital S, of him who has not conquered his lower self behaves antagonistically like an enemy. One's own self is the friend of the soul by whom the lower self has been conquered. Even so, the very self of him who has not conquered his lower self behaves antagonistically like an enemy. I think I've said this to you guys before. Sometimes when we read these scriptures, particularly like the Upanishad or Ashtavakra, it's too enlightened talking. They're not talking to an Arjun, us. They're sort of just saying, oh, the coffee was good. Not the recipe of the coffee or how to make the coffee or what temperature is the coffee. They say, oh, coffee is good. Yes, I had the exact experience. That's what they're doing, right? Two enlightened come together and they talk about the price of potatoes, as Guruji said, because there's nothing for them to discuss. Somebody asked him that one time, what do two enlightened people talk about? He said, oh, we ask, what is the price of potatoes now? Because what are they going to do, no? So when the higher self, when the Atman has not conquered the lower self, meaning the mind, the small mind, then we behave antagonistically. Look, let's understand something. Do you, the small mind, exist? Yes or no?
Yes.
How many say yes, here and in here? Raise your hand. Do you Apurva, exist? Supriya, do you exist? Supriya, do you exist? Yes?
Yes.
This is back to chapter 2. Yes or no?
Yes.
You exist until you have
Yes.
realized
Yes.
the big self.
You exist until you realize the big self. Okay, the snake exists until you see it as a rope. Okay, I can go with that. Somebody had their hand up. Go ahead. Who had their hand up? Sejal? No. All right. What do you think?
The transactional reality, we do exist, but at the absolute level, it's like a quantum level.
Okay.
Like there's
I mean, in the absolute level, we are saying everything is, yeah,
In the sense of self, we exist. It's a sense of self
yeah.
until we realize
But it's a phantom.
it's a phantom. Yeah, it's a sense of self. It's not.
It's a phantom. You know, a thought arises, that thought repeats itself, and therefore it appears to take on a form. Listen, this is very difficult to explain, so you have to try to follow. All right? The illuminator, the ultimate knower, divine, Paramatma, God, whatever you want to call it. That is the basis of everything, correct? It is everything, correct? Conceptually. We don't have experiences perhaps, but conceptually, this is what we have heard throughout, at least the Shastras that we know, throughout Sanatan Dharma, correct? Yes?
yes.
All right. Where are you? If you exist, even on the relative level, where are you located? Tell me. No, where are you? Where is Manisha?
Wherever you are paying attention.
So where are you? Do you exist?
In her own imagination.
No. Kavita fights for what she wants or doesn't want based on her sense of self, the small self that it's describing, correct?
Right.
Where is the small self?
Wherever we are guiding.
No, that's attention. Where is the personality, the like, the dislike? Where are we?
Mind.
I know, but you're giving me spiritual answers. I want you to give me an answer like you know you exist. There is a Rajshree, correct? You know you exist. I'm just saying, again and again, as often as possible, you have to ask yourself, who am I? Where am I? When am I? How long am I? These 4 questions we are not very regular with because there's such a strong belief, strong assumption that I am, the little I am, and I'm here in this body. And oftentimes we think I'm here, not just in this body, but I'm in this thing called, this chamber called the head. Yes or no? But what's in your head is an organ called the brain. Yes? Who is Rajshree? Who are you? Where are you? When are you? Have you ever kind of like really dropped into that question? There's a bunch of thoughts, but is it a person? Is it a living form entity? This is the question I'm asking you. I know you can't give an answer, but you have to let the questions penetrate, because that is how we create a lot more space and purify the system. Where is Alex? I mean, I see a form called Alex, but the person, where is Alex? Where is he? Where's Supriya? Where's Daya? Where's Sushma? Where are you? There are thoughts inside this nervous system that come and go. That much we can all be certain of. Yes? Alex has thought, oh, I have to create this website. Okay, I need to know, guys, I need to think about this before I come back and circle back on you with what to do, where, what go. Yes? These are thoughts. Who you are, isn't that also a thought? Follow me. When Alex has thoughts about, okay, I'm creating this landing page, and he's talking to Pramod, he's talking to Didi, and he's saying, okay, this goes here. Okay, I have some photos. Let me get back to you. Alex is talking. They're thoughts that are coming out of his mouth. Yes? Which we call ideas. Yes? Nod your head. Look at me in the camera so I know. Yes?
Yes.
All right? Now, like that idea, like those thoughts that come out of your mouth, do you not in your head have an idea about who you are, from which you operate? You know, that's a very lukewarm yes.
Yes.
Yes. Correct? How is that thought a living entity called Sushma? They're thoughts that you have added so much attention to your point, Kavita, that it has become a living entity, and it's an idea of you that you call you. It is not you as a form, a living entity. So, Supriya, you're sitting next to a phantom, and there's no Alex there. Are you getting what I'm saying to you? Just for a moment, as a glimpse, this is not something we can grab onto, but these glimpses become very essential for this Shastra. It's a moksha Shastra. It's a journey to recognizing the higher self, right? In the process, we also understand our mind, and in the process, we also learn to understand how to deal with life, day-to-day life. That's a different story. Follow me again, one more time. Do you exist as a form? The idea of you have a body that belongs to you. So there's two, me and the body. This is my house. So there's me and the house that I occupy. Correct? They're two different things. Like that, there's me and my body. So far with me?
Yes.
All right. So now let's look at the me. You operate as who you are, and who you are is notions, ideas. You could call them beliefs. You could call them assumptions. It's the same thing depending on when it's used. We use a different word, right? Oh, I had an idea. Well, you yourself are an idea to yourself. And you believe it so much that you think you have a form. But you don't have a form. Just like what I'm expressing, what I'm saying now has no form. They're ideas without a form. Are you short-circuiting? Are you? Look, and we do everything to preserve this non-existent operating model. Everything. You know, some little thing out of place and everything gets ruffled. Isn't it? Oh my God, and this, and you get ruffled as if somebody shook the house.
So does that mean you can just change yourself just like an idea at any time?
The question is, so does that mean you can just change yourself just like you change an idea? What's your answer?
Yes.
You can be whatever you want.
Yes. The thing is, though, we're so attached and we believe the truth of who we are and how important that is and how great that is and how that should be respected and loved and honored and supported, that we don't change. Even though it's not working for us. Even though what goes on with the small mind, right? I'm sticking to this verse, is garbage. We still hold on to it because we're so deeply entrenched as a form, an operating model that's just an idea, a notion, a phantom idea. Joan, say something. We don't. This is when Gurudev, look, I remember, years ago, I went, Guruji, I can't believe this. Some random thing happened. Okay, I don't recall the details. And I was sitting there telling him about it. He said, you don't exist. I didn't get it. I had no clue you don't exist. How could he say that? I don't exist. What is he trying to tell me? I don't matter. The notion I jumped right in to preserve. I do exist. I'm here. See, I exist. I matter. It's important. I believe something. What I believe, it's all me, and it all matters. Yes or no? Years later, I had a glimpse. It didn't stick very long. Years later, I suddenly had I see what he meant by you don't exist. I've heard him say that to Philip. I've heard him say that to other people. It's when I heard it like the third, fourth person, I was like, oh, because I could see from a distance at that time. Oh, that's what he meant. You don't exist. There are ideas that you hold on to as an idea. No, it's my idea. How can you do this? This is how it should be. You should not have done it that way. How we hold on for dear life an idea, correct? Just imagine how much, quote, for dear life we hold on to the idea of who we are as a form.
So that's a small self, like the idea or the thought that who am I, what's my name.
So when there's no small self, right?
It's a thought.
Yeah,
An idea.
you're a phantom.
Dream.
But so then you should be asking me, well, okay, Didi, we're phantom, so how we're supposed to exist in the world?
Exactly. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
How do we operate? Is my question then. How do we live in the world then?
So this is it's first you have to get it. So how do you live in the world? That's when you have freedom. If that is really established in you, then you have freedom. That is the only time when you really listen for new ideas. You have the ability to reason. You allow creativity to come to you. You allow intuition to operate for you. You allow the moment to give you the direction, which is Paramatma. That's how you function. But you're going to say, if I don't preserve all my thoughts, notions, ideas, beliefs, I'll just be taken advantage of. First, you don't exist. I just established that, but you're going to be worrying that I'll get taken advantage of. No, there's a different you. The small I is a phantom, does not exist. Gurudev exists in the world, and he manages far more things than we could ever imagine. Far more people. He has more kids, more wives, more husbands, more brothers, more sisters than anybody would care to have. Yes? More jobs, more businesses. How many organizations in India? I don't know. They give 3-digit numbers. Sansthas. All that. But it's not because he thinks, I believe this. Have you noticed his malleability, his flexibility, his openness, his creativity, his ability to give an answer in the moment, his ability to navigate a challenge in the moment? I mean, you've heard those stories about when WCF and the person from Africa, the leader, was supposed to come, but he shouldn't because, you know that whole story, right? And how skillfully. It's not like, I exist, what am I going to do? Let me think it through. Let me go read up. Oh, in the past, those people did. No, it's a flow. It's a continuous flow because who you are past that phantom, that idea, notion, is all knowing. It's called Satta, Chitta, Ananda. Chitta, intelligence, all knowing, all powerful flow of intelligence. So you don't even know what you're going to say, and you say the solution is in front of you. You just know this is what we're going to do. No, do it like this. Yes? Well, okay. Are we all clear? Yes?
We don't exist.
I mean, listen, you will stop fighting for little things. Because you can, Manisha, it's a very brilliant question. Then you can change your perception, your ideas, and your sense of who you are. Anyway, what you think you are, you didn't independently, consciously, through intelligence, select to be who you are. It's osmosis. You are too young to know what you stand for, to choose. By the time you were 8 years old, you were fully developed. Who you are now, who I am now, is more or less who we were when we were 8, minus the art of living impact / guru impact. You know? Beliefs, your ideology, your assumptions, what you consider right, what you consider wrong, what is your, sort of point of no return, non-negotiable. All these things are drilled into you by society, parents, television, teachers, neighbors, the country you live in, the economics of that time, right? Everything. A person who went through a depression, meaning after the war, they have a very different mindset, belief system. And today, 60 years later, they operate very differently. They eat the core of the apple. You don't know when you'll get food. No, Dad, we have a whole, they cannot register that. That's an assumption, a belief, a notion. Do you see what I'm saying to you? And who we are, who we think we are, that we're so proud of and want to preserve and protect, is garbage that was being thrown around that we accept it as, and we think we are so independent and somebody, and I don't believe in that, and I don't think like that, and that's not important to me. Whatever. Like, really, whatever. It's not that valuable,
But it's so so difficult to even change a single habit or pattern?
No,
in yourself?
because, see the question, it's so difficult to change a single habit or a pattern because you identify your sense of self, therefore sense of worth, sense of value, self-respect, self-love through those habits, those ideas, those patterns. They have worked for you. It's like a hairstyle. You notice one day you wake up and you say, oh, I need a different hairstyle. I think I'm going to change it. Okay, good. And then you're stuck with that hairstyle and you're 90 years old. You never look in the mirror and make a new decision. Today, is that the same hairstyle I should walk around with? Some people wear the same style of clothing that they wore when they were 18, 20, 25 years old. Dude, you're now 69 years old. I don't know that you should be wearing that. Yes or no? Because we don't make a new, fresh look. We are stuck in what we think we are and how valuable that is and how important and how grand and amazing we are. What? It's rubbish. And when that registers in us, when it really registers in us, then we become more open to listening. We become more present. We become more present to saying, not for somebody else's sake, for your own sake. It's a selfish thing to be open in a given moment or situation. You have much more to gain. See? Oh, let me see what else is possible. Versus the same old way. Who needs the same hairstyle at 90? You just don't, because there's like 6 hairs there. And you keep trying to arrange them so that it's like, what? It's an amazing verse. Until you see the small self as that small self, and you do not recognize yourself as the higher self, that's what's going to happen. Antagonistically, like an enemy, you fight against the higher self. You do everything you can to hold on to your small beliefs. In cartoon, last thing we talked about, there's cartoons where there's like a devil on the shoulder and an angel on the shoulder. Those little cartoons? And I don't know, the one goes, trip her, she's not nice, stick your foot out, she's running for the race, she's going to win, trip her. And this one, no, see, don't do that, it's okay, just you give your best. And then this one says, shut up. It's a cartoon that they keep fighting. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this one eventually, this one, and then the devil's horns. You know what I'm talking about? You've seen those. That's what happens. We don't give way to something greater, bigger, higher. We hold on to stale peanuts. Because walking in the unknown is not somewhere we're willing to go. But there was a verse, if you recall, I don't recall the numbers, I'm not,
2.16.
There's some. It says you have to be really committed to step into the unknown. No? There was a verse that we came across like that. So it's, well, you think this is practical? Whatever we talked about, does it sound wow versus, oh, yes?
So yesterday, I was in I don't mind telling everyone that's here, I was in a group therapy session. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And I was told that our mantra to follow is, I matter. And today you told me the complete opposite. So it's not the devil versus angel, because I think for me, in my situation, both of those things are important. I should know that I matter.
Yes.
However, I also know that I'm part of something greater and I don't exist.
Okay, so
I'm exist.
I'll just tell them so that they know what we're talking about. I don't know if you could hear, but someone was in a group, survivor of domestic violence, and one of the things that gets discussed or was discussed the last time was I matter, no, in that group. And the individual is sharing that, yes, on the one hand, I should know that I matter. And on the other hand, I just now, through our discussion, said that you don't matter. And on the big plane of things, yes, it's true, I don't matter. But on that certain level, I matter. If you'll allow me to push, all right? You matter more than the events that have happened in your life. That's how I would put it if I were in that group. You are more than the events in your life. So that matters. If we get defined by the events of our life, we go smaller. But if I see that I am bigger than the events of my life, then I matter. I am in the position of strength, power, authority to make a difference for the events that may come in my life in the future, to not allow them to happen. Can you understand the difference? More importantly, do you see? I think we're saying the same thing, but perhaps adding another layer of understanding to it. So for me, I would say, if I were facilitating that group, I would say, you, who you are, is far more than what's happened to you, far stronger than what's happened to you. And who you are, that matters, because that will run what happens to you in the future. That's how I would put it. You see? Are you guys clear what I'm saying? Yes? Otherwise, we let events define us. And then we're continuously trying to fix what happened out of that result to that small individuated self, which is a moment that has gone. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I used to teach, a lot of people used to come from AA, something completely different in a sense from what you're talking about, but there's a belief there that they must stand up always and say, I am so and so, and I'm an alcoholic. Though they have been clean, maybe for 20 years, 30 years, not just 2 or 3 months, but many, many years. But still the belief is you stand up, and when you introduce yourself, when you move, I'm an alcoholic. And I don't claim to know the AA or anything. I think it's quite amazing, the 12 steps, because the last step is what? None of you know. Turn it over to the higher power, surrender. There's a higher power in all of this. And I would, when they would come to the course, I would say, yes, I want to add step number 13. And you are that higher power. Do you understand? And this was a mind-blowing thing for them. To separate this identity of I am an alcoholic to I am the higher power. And it's within me. So then at some point, they would stop saying I'm an alcoholic. Because the mind, on repetitiveness of it, holds even a shadow, even a tainted shadow of that very thing we want to be free of. Are you with me still, or did you guys disappear? Yes? You understand what I'm saying? Yes?
I'll go on the show. So she's wondering.
Huh? No, that's an example. The alcoholic is an example, not that. But you understood, no? Because I want to serve and support you, to say, I understand. And I'm very happy for you that you're moving out of that whole situation. But I'm saying to you, there's even more.
Yes, I mean, the art of living and my participation in it actually helped to empower me from a mindset.
Yes.
To leave that situation.
Yes. God bless. God bless you. All right. I have 5 minutes before the session officially ends. Anything? No, but I asked you guys a question. You didn't answer me. Oh wow, oh Didi, okay. For a glimpse I had it, I'm a notion, oh no, but I'm me, no, okay, whatever. Is it practical? How is that practical in daily life? Let's say you really do get it for 5 minutes. I included in it, okay.
It's very difficult to lose that thought of like who you are. And
It's very difficult to lose the thought of who you are. Yes, that's why, every rishi, they say it's a razor's edge and it's a long journey, but when it hits in that moment. But again and again, Advaita Vedanta, what does it say? At any given moment, if you contemplate, you have the ability to have a direct experience, glimpse of who you really are. And when we're talking, when we were just having this conversation, if you notice for a moment, something does slip in that says, oh, yeah, who am I? Did you have like a question for a moment, not superficially, conceptually as an exercise, but as we were discussing, like, yeah, so who am I? Did you have that question? Did you? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That's the glimpse. Now you don't know who you were. For that moment, you did not have that identity held. And when you do it again, it becomes an elephant's footprint. But we don't do that. That is called abhyasa. Right? Advaita Vedanta, its technique is very simple. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. We do Shravana. We listen. Self-reflection is what we just did, Nididhyasa. Abhyasa is again and again coming. We don't do. So of course the other identity is there, bad habits stay bad habits. Correct? But the practical ramifications of this are enormous. Whether it's in business or family or friendships or seva or just walking about in life. You're not some limited, fixed, rigid identity. It's like you're malleable. Guruji says, no, you are not some worm in the earth. No, you are immutable, self-effulgent, sentient, illuminator. I don't know, in chapter 2, to describe Atma, how many words does Lord Krishna give, right? Hundreds of words practically if you keep going through everything. It's amazing. Just this word, I just like immutable. This is an amazing description of who you are, who we are. We can say non-changing, that's not quite the same, no?
Yeah.
It's not quite the same, immutable. No?
So the moment we realize this, there won't be any conflicts in the world.
Yeah, she said the moment we realize this, then there won't be any conflicts in the world. Well, that's correct. That's why the Guru is saying, teach everybody, teach everybody, teach everybody. The only solution to saving the planet is consciousness upliftment, right? The recognition that you're more than this thing that there's no chamber in your head where there's a little stick figure hanging out. Ew, hello, I'm here, save me, protect me, this is Rajshree. There's no stick figure in there. You don't exist. No? Yeah. Leave the symbols, as he says, meaning Gurudev says, leave the customs, as Gurudev says. Look to the values. If we just look to the values, we would not have conflict, Okay, well, we did 3 verses. That's not too bad. All good?
Didi,
Yes?
so in the recent video of Gurudev. Gurudev, somebody asked Gurudev that, why does this attacks and everything is happening when the God existed in the world, is existing in the world. So to that, Gurudev said that that's where you come to the art of living first point, that opposite values are complementary, and without opposites, there's no meaning to the world. So just you were talking about that, so I thought I should just mention.
Yeah. Then there's no conflict. You embrace both sides. You allow a mountain to coexist with a valley, versus knock down all the mountains, flatten out the lands, everything should be flat, You allow, and it doesn't have a judgment of right or wrong in it. It just has a judgment of, अब क्या हुआ?
Everybody become black.
Time to sleep, tired? All right, shall we end here? Any questions? Anything? Anybody? Listen, the thing is, the contrary voices, the ideas called me, right? They exist all at one time, yes or no? They're simultaneously in our head. And we know what this guy is saying. The one with the wings, remember? But this one says, oh, they're not doing it, so why should I? Yes or no?
Yes.
So you go down the rabbit hole along with everybody else. This is the thing where abhyasa never gets, you cannot give in. You have all the voices in your head, and you don't stick to your clarity and your truth in the light sense, not the big truth, right? You say, they don't do it. Why would I do that? If they don't do it and I do it, then what's left of me? Well, what are you trying to preserve? Do you see? That's like a peer pressure conversation without realizing it. It's like really being 15 years old. Oh, my friends are smoking, so I should too. Okay, very smart. At 32, not. But this is what we do.
But to listen to that angel, you really have to have high energy.
No, to listen to that angel, you have to have determination that that's where my goal is.
Yeah. But if you are low in energy, you
but it's that becomes a reason. Even in the low energy, the mind brings a juice if you're committed to it. This is why it becomes very necessary. That verse is take responsibility, handle your life. Handle it, But we have this, see, I didn't know what to do, and I'm so sorry. What? Wake up. We need to handle, I'm responding to what Manisha is saying, which is that you need a lot of energy in order to listen to the angel. And I'm saying, no, you have to stay committed to your goal in order to follow that. You see? If your focus is not clear where you want to be, what matters most to you, you will give in to this voice. It will take you down the ladder.
So are you talking about righteousness or values?
Values. You know what is correct. You know what you should let go. You know why you're fighting. You know you're supporting your ego. You know it's irrelevant, but yet you're getting hurt by it. And then you're holding it there, and you're holding it for 10 days or 10 years instead of moving on. Life is so big. Some dumb little argument, some dumb little words, some exchange of ideas that people say and they own up to. I just don't know why I said that. People out of fatigue, don't you say things when you're exhausted or do things that you don't mean to do when you're wiped out and tired? Yes or no? Yes. But we hold on to it and we know there's no need, but no, we want to be somebody withholding that stuff. All right. Everybody good? See you next Tuesday. Okay? Jai Gurudev.
Jai Guru.